himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on, so knew I've been in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. Doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here, but I just want to see how Alistair Haight deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped all the way down the order, but Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start dropping. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. The Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Standing out from the crowd is a challenge. You have the passion, courage, and ambition to do something extraordinary. You have an awesome story to tell and a wonderful vision to share with the world. At Eddie Videos, we take that vision and turn it into reality so you can be heard above the rest. You need something different, and we give you the ultimate advantage. We can help you transform your ideas, images, and clips into a professional video that brings your message to life and sets a new bar for excellence. Visuals, voiceovers, editing, animations, whatever you need, we've got it all. If you're a new business looking to make your mark or an experienced company searching for something new and amazing, we're here to help. Trust us to take your video to amazing levels of awesomeness.
Coming down to
Does
the
he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it. Medeiros
Look at Tyson! Haven't got it!
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now, though, for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such chopper. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's gonna do it! Big Barry! Good evening and welcome to the Radical Sim Racing America's SR10 live from round one in Spa-Francorchamps. I am James Parfitt. I'm going to be here guiding you through all the action with Daan Pepels in the booth this evening once again, and it's going to be an absolute incredible race. We've got 15 cars on track for what is going to be, well, I think it's going to be outstanding to be here. To be fair, 6.93 kilometers in length, and we're in Belgium, of course, and the city of Francorchamps. We're in the Americas. We have got AMs and pros currently on track at the moment. We got 7 AMs, and we have no fewer than 10 pros on track. Welcome in, CJ. I hope you are well. Thanks so much for joining us. The duration will be 10 minutes of quali or 4 laps, and then a 30-minute race with a standing start, 1 fast repair, and they will be on fixed setups here this evening. Calendar, well, the calendar is quite interesting, to be fair. We're going to go to the Nordschleife on the 2nd of July. Then we're off to Alton Park Circuit International with no chicanes on the 9th. WeatherTech Raceway at Laguna Seca for the 16th of July. On the 30th of July, we are off to Silverstone Circuit Grand Prix. On Sebring International Raceway on the 6th of August with Road Atlanta on the 13th. And then the 20th of August will be Mount Panorama to finish off. They will receive 50 points for a win, 48 for second, 46 for third, 44 for fourth, 42 for fifth, and 40 for sixth, and then go on from there. The season finals will take place somewhere towards the end of October currently at the moment, and it will be the top 15 from Europe and the top 10 for the Americas, and who will qualify for the final. But you have listened to me waffle on long enough. Let's bring Daan Pepels into the booth. Good evening to you, Dan. I hope you're well.
Good evening, good afternoon, whatever you might be watching at. It's quite a weird time for us Europeans, I have to say. Welcome in, CJ. Great to see him again. Of course, he was the man we were talking to, our walking Wikipedia page last season in the SR10. It's great to see him back, and great to have him. So I hope he's going to enjoy the racing here today. Yeah, what a great track this. Do want to correct you, though. There's no such thing as the city of Francorchamps. We're in Stavilo, which is also, funnily enough, one of the corner names.
You're going to argue with the overlay.
Yes, the overlay is incorrect. And I think I pointed that out in the Europe stream as well. There is no such thing as the city of Spa-Francorchamps. It's literally the track.
Yeah, okay, go with that. I'm not lying behind at this, to be honest. You want to argue about it? Go for your life, young sir. We've just had a few more cars join the session, so that takes us up to 18 cars for this race. What are we expecting here then, Dan? Is it going to be a draft fest that we think is going to be happening down the Kemmel Straight, or are we going to see something a little bit unusual in certain parts of the circuit?
Well, question is, when is it not a draft fest down this Kemmel Straight? It's, I think, from turn 1 to the entrance of Les Combes. It's about, in these radicals, about 25 to 30 seconds, I would say, of full throttle time. So enough time to slipstream past the driver ahead of you. However, if you are in a train, it does make it considerably more difficult to overtake, because everyone ahead of you has slipstream as well. What we saw in the Europes was that if you are in a pack of more than 3, then you're going to have trouble. 3 is really the maximum for proper racing, I would say. If you're in a pack of 4, it's going to become difficult to overtake.
Yeah, it definitely will, and I think that's one of the things these drivers are going to have to master for this opening season here, this opening race as well. CJ, hopefully they'll make it through the start of the Nordschleife this time, unlike the World Finals. That is absolutely correct, because they didn't go so well down in turn 1, if I remember correctly, either, which was a bit of a problem for some of the guys here this evening. But I'm sure they will do an absolutely stellar job, and I'm sure it will be, well, it'll be a nice clean one, I expect it to be fair, and hopefully we won't have any issues, he says, relying on the fact that we don't, to be fair.
I agree with the fact that we hopefully won't have any issues, but you're a brave man saying that we'll go through the Nordschleife without any issues.
I think it really is dependent on how the drivers cope with the beginning of the Nordschleife. They've got to be looking at the sensible situation with Nords as well, right? Nords is practically a drive to survive circuit, you know, at the end of the day. That's what it is. And that's what we expect it to be, a drive to survive circuit. They're not looking at kind of trying to, you know, win it unless they're at the front, but at the end of the day, if they're not going to qualify at the front and they are going to be mid-pack, which some of these guys may be, then obviously, you know, they've got to think, right, I've just got to survive. And Nords itself is tricky. We know that, and the high curbs really do cause problems for these SR10s.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, they could bounce off quite easily. But if I was initially in the race, I would not be looking to try and go out full bore. I would be a little bit more sensible about the situation and realize that I've just got to try and score points, and that's what I mean with a lot of points on the board for them as well. I think they really just have to kind of survive at the moment, and hopefully they will do. But who knows? Some people may obviously find that hard for them to achieve, and they want to go out and try and do the win. But there we go. We'll have to see how they get on. We have just entered into qualifying. 10 minutes of qualifying of 4 laps. It's, well, on a 2-minute plus lap time, it's going to be a struggle for them to get 4 laps in, I think.
Yes, we didn't see anyone put in a 4-lapper since
No.
well, with the lap time, it just isn't possible really, because the lap time is over 2 minutes. You have your out lap, and it just isn't possible. It's as simple as that. What we did see was that some drivers just took that last bit of time that they had to practice Eau Rouge, Radion, La Source, just everything one more time before they went into the race. Also, what CJ said, Krosic not running the Hot Wheels livery this season is also something that we are going to have to get used to, James, because we got used to all these beautiful liveries last season on the SR8s. Now, we've come to the SR10s, which I'm happy about. I love this car. But the liveries will be completely different. So, going to be a bit of a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, it always is. You know, and at the end of the day, that's the situation with it, because people have come from the SR8 to the SR10. They might not have a custom livery made up for them. They might have something completely different. And at the end of the day, you know, as the season goes on, we'll get more and more used to what's going on as well. But, well, hopefully we should see some times coming in very, very shortly. And hopefully we'll see some great racing. We've just had somebody else join the session at the same time. So bear with me. Dan, talk for 2 minutes while I resolve this issue of young Juan Carlos Puyol, who's just joined the session.
Well, talking for me shouldn't be an issue, you would think, since it's my job. The 53 is who we're looking at, Charles Krosic. I don't know exactly what his tactic is here. He seems to be accelerating and braking, so I think he's trying to warm up the tires either via the brakes or from the inside instead of weaving from left to right. What you're going to see him do now is going to stick completely to the right-hand side. Okay, never mind. What I was expecting him to do was sticking to the right-hand side and definitely not spinning off on his first attempt. That's going to be another lap ruined for him. So that's going to put pressure on his next 2 laps if he can get around. Because he did take a good old time, though, on his warm-up lap. Meanwhile, Tai Kim has gone purple in the 911. Usually, that is a number you'd see on a Porsche. Not really used to seeing it on a Radical. However, it does look great always, the 911 number. What the qualifying time we saw in the Europes was a low 2:12. We didn't see anyone get into the 2:11s. But as we know from last season, there isn't really any gap between the Americas and the Europes. They're both on a par, I would say. And what we also saw last season, in the Europes at least, is that you don't need to win every race to be a champion. In the Europes, it was Tim Bertie who took the regular season championship. He only won 1 race of the 10 races that we did, and that was the last race because both Adam Isaacson and Jürgen Frank weren't there. Now, my opinion is that it didn't matter who was there. He would have won anyways. For the people who still remember last season's regular champion in the Americas, it was someone who took part in the Europes regularly as well. It was Stephen Place on 470 points. And that is a full 100 points ahead of the man placed in P2 that season, Diego Zuccarelli. So Stephen Place was quite dominant that season, we have to say. However, Diego Zuccarelli now the first one with the purple sector across the line in the 26. See what time he's going to be able to do.
Well, currently, everybody has registered an off track at some point, so the times coming in the board will be their second lap that we are seeing. Yeah, so we'll have to see how this one all pans out. I think we've got some good times, 2:13, 2:08 currently as well, and then we've got 2:13, 3:24, 13s, 2:13 all the way down to about 6th place until we get into Zuccarelli, who's at the 2:14s with Edwards, Jacqueline, Wyatt, Place and Gabaldoni. So let's see what happens here as well. Ty, I hopefully have resolved that issue. Hopefully that is better for you, and I'm now not blasting your eardrums quite happily. Just let me know either way. That would be absolutely amazing. Still some drivers were out some times. David Anderson, Mike Klausing, Richard Hearn, Christian Vizcarra and Jean Puyol, who hasn't got a time on the board either. So let's see how they get on now and whether or not we're going to get some times on the board here as well. Most likely position of overtakes, Dan, are we expecting down into Lacombe, or do you think we're going to get some down into the bus stop?
I think from what we've seen that an overtake into Lacombe is only possible once you're on the inside of the first part. Else, if you're on the outside, you're going to have a hard time, really. Usually, you'll either get pushed off the track on the exit of the right-hander, so the first part of Lacombe, or you're just going to go straight on because, well, you're sensible and you know that the room you were going to go into was going to disappear anyways. However, the man at the top of the timing sheets, I think, has his name spelled incorrectly. Is that not Rafael Blanco from last season?
I was just looking at that myself, to be fair, and deciding what the situation is with that. I'm going to presume it is Blanco, so I will make that edit as well. I'm not entirely sure.
What's the chances of a Rafael Blanchet coming in with like one letter difference and having exactly the same nationality plus the same racing number that he had last season?
Well, who knows? Who knows? It could be, I don't know, somebody with fat fingers pressing the wrong button. There we go. To be fair. But, you know, it does happen easily as well. But the times are kind of settled down a bit at the moment. Mike there on car number 133 has got a time on the board now. Goes across the line in 12th. Franco Sanchez currently sitting in 4th with greens on the board. And Charles Krasik, another man with greens, but let's see what Sanchez can do. He's purpled the last sector. Where is he going to go on the board? He's going to go into second on a 2:13.207. And Jean Puyol, who literally just joined the league about 5 minutes ago, is also now sitting in 9th place currently. So they've got about 2 minutes remaining. Yeah, I do like his livery. Not looking too bad, to be fair. A good little mixture of green, black, and blue.
Everything.
Yeah, pretty much. But there we go. See how he gets on in his first race. That's going to be interesting. I'm more excited to see the fact that Stephen Place has actually got a decent time on the board for qualifying, and see how he gets on. Hopefully, Stephen will put on a good show. João Puyol goes into first place, currently in the AMS. I'm wondering if that's going to be a class change come the next race there as well, because he is literally a 10th quicker than Max Siegel. So we'll have to see how this one is as well. Joe Jacqueline down in 14th place currently at the moment. He's got some greens on the board as well. Obviously, as you already know, greens is they're improving their sectors. Or yellows is not. Purple is they're going fastest overall. So there you go. That's what the pretty colours at the bottom mean, and hopefully you will all understand that.
If you watch Formula 1, I think you're pretty used to the sector colours. Anyways, what they want to see is those green colours, that they're improving on their personal best. And Richard Hearn, who's going to come across the line, the AMS currently 15th overall.
Goes up to 3rd.
There we go.
Up into
10th overall, turn to pass.
Yeah, not a bad start of the evening for him. We'll go with David Anderson.
Ideal.
Just seeing if he can get a time on the board here as well. 27 seconds left.
He needs one desperately.
Yeah, just head straight up the line. I never do quite get the
Diagonal way.
The diagonal way. You can still get over onto your line for turn 1 if you go straight up the line. The shortest route possible. You don't add.
Well, your time is done anyways. There's no need to go over to your line.
It's depends where they've got. Who's crossing over? No one. They're all done. Right, let's bring you up the grid here this evening, and it is Rafael Blanco out in front with Franco Sanchez in second, Ty Kim third, Stephen Place in fourth, Mateus Moraes in fifth, Eric Harmon sixth, Rafael Benavides in seventh, Jean Puyol eighth, Max Siegel ninth, Richard Hearn in 10th, Tyler Edwards is 11th, and Diego Zuccarelli down in 12th. Then beyond that, Mike Clausen in 13th, Joel Jacqueline 14th, Christian Vizcarra in 15th, Philip Wyatt 16th, Charles Krasik 17th, Santiago Garbadini in 18th, and then David Anderson is in 19th. So 19 cars lined up on track here, and one for the opening round. Let's see what they are going to be able to do. We've got a 30-minute race of absolute epic action. It's going to be around about 16 laps if I've got maths correct. 30 divided by 2 gives me around about 16, give or take. So hopefully we will see.
12 seconds into account. We
Sorry?
did 14 laps with the Europes because of the 12 seconds. If you do the 12 seconds times 16, math. Don't trust the commentator on his math, that's what I'm going to say.
No, and don't try and do it when it's about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah, never ideal for that one either. But let's see how these all get on for the opening round of the Radical Sim Racers America's SR10 Championship, live from Spa in Belgium. There you go, Dan. I've pleased you.
It was Blanco.
Yeah, Blanco, yeah. Going around the pole man's car, having a nice look. See how it gets on. Right, we're just waiting for Christian Vizcarra, who's got basically about 8 seconds. Lights are coming on now, and we are going to be up and running for the opening round of the season. And Blanco got off the start. He done an absolute barnstorming start with Sanchez right behind him and Ty Kim also as well. Stephen Place currently sitting in 4th place, takes a wide line. Zuccarelli makes up, is sitting in 12th. There's only one change further up, and it's Benavides has gone past Eric Harmon with Philip Wyatt and David Anston also making up 3 places here as well. Please don't take El Rouge Ruddy on too wide. Nobody is crazy enough to try that on the opening lap. I'm not going to say they won't, but now we're on that run down Kemmel Straight into Lacombe at the end, and we'll see how, who and what is making a move. You can see they are 3 wide in the middle there as well, right in front of us with Eric Harmon. Benedict is out as well. They all make it through. Ty Kim's in there currently at the moment. So far, so good. Only Richard Hearn has taken a little bit of a dive out of track there, Dan, but everybody else through cleanly.
Keep an eye on Matthias Moraes. He's already up 2. However, I have just jinxed him completely. Off the road goes Matthias. It's a proper commentator curse, isn't it? Is there someone stuck on the curb? I have a feeling that Stephen Place is indeed stuck on the curb. Through Speaker's corner goes Matthias. I'm
wondering if he got caught up 2 seconds with that in incident with Murray. No, he made contact with him. So Stephen Place and Mateus Moraes goes off, unfortunately, and now Stephen's just got to sit there and wait for everybody else to go through. I'm sure he might even wait for, there you go, Murray goes through as well. Jobs are good, and now these guys are going to have a job battling their way through the field once more. Zuccarelli, Puyo and Kim now fighting it out as they're heading down Blanchimont, coming into the bus stop here. They're going to be running side by side. Ty Kim on the right, there's going to be contact. There's going to be a little bit of leaning from Puyo. Is he going to be able to hold it? He does currently. Kim's going to try and slip up the inside. Puyo comes over and defends. Kim still goes for it as well. You cannot leave the door open on that second time around. Oh! Sorry, Ty Kim, but yeah, you can't come across his nose like that. Never going to happen in a month of Sundays that you're expecting that man on the inside to try and disappear. Just doesn't work out. And we can have another look back at that, but he gets the inside here, Dan, but he can't expect Puyo to go and disappear now. It doesn't work.
No. Well, you could say that he had half a car in front, but usually when you're half a car alongside, you're entitled to some room. And even then, going into the braking zone, he was about a car length ahead of him. So he did well to, first of all, outbrake him. However, back to the battle. On the live pictures, Rafael Blanco on the inside of Sanchez, told it wasn't possible at the beginning, but Sanchez says, I'm going to prove you wrong. However, like I said, it is difficult to carry that speed through the second and third part of Lecombe. That's just been proven. Rafael Blanco, the inside there. You can run it through the outside of the first part, but then the second and third part is going to be a bit of trouble since you can't really get the run.
This is Joe Jacklin. He loses positions here. I think he gets caught up in the Ty Kim incident. Kim comes across the middle. And unfortunately for Jacqueline there, he just gets into unfortunately the side of Tai Kim there as well. So a bit of a tough one. Down here, Tai Kim's just gone past David Anderson. He's making moves up as well. Garbadini is trying to hang on from Charles Krasick. Krasick on the left-hand side in that orange livery, and Garbadini in the Martini livery on the SR10 here for the, well, I'm going to presume it's going to be for this season, unless he watches this back and decides that he wants to change it. And then he might come into something else next week, Dan, which will be even more exciting for us.
Agreed. However, I think you can never go wrong with a Martini livery. There's just something about that livery. We saw it on the Williams back in 2015, 2016, 2014 even. And now we see it on the Radical SR10 from Santiago Gabaldoni, who's going to be overtaken by Krasic. Great move. A move that was risky though up the inside of Blanchimont, but makes it stick, does it cleanly. However, this battle is going to be an interesting one. That run up of Rouge Radion with Rafael Blanco about 3/10 ahead. You would say that Slipstream is going to do his work here for Sanchez.
Yeah, he should be able to. He's within that 1/10 difference. He's already going to make it. I would say he's probably looking at pulling out. He's already gone out, and he got him basically just over the crest of the hill. They're running side by side. Blanco on the left, Sanchez on the right. Is he going to be able to hang it round? He's not this time. So again, he stays where he is. What about Philip Wyatt? Is Wyatt going to be able to make that move round Puyo around the outside as well? He's not either. What about Tyler Edwards? Is he going to be able to successfully do it? He's trying now. He's onto the grass. They've touched it. On the exit into Mamadi they go, and he's not going to be able to make it either. So clearly, the outside line is not going to work for any of these people, and one that I'd probably recommend not trying to take at all. But Moraes and Richard Hearn have swapped places there as well. Moraes now back up into 11th place after him and Stephen Place had that coming together on lap 1 in the very same place. He's just made that position. But Blanco and Sanchez opening up a 2.6 second gap currently at the moment. They've got about 5.5k average IR between the two of them. Probably says a lot about the reason they're in pro as well. So I'm not going to lie. When they've got about 5.5k as an average, Dan, I would say there are probably no slouches in the car.
No, I agree with that. However, what you do sometimes see is that drivers have their R rating based on one car. So then sometimes, and that's why it's what iRacing, I think, it's sometimes a bit weird, because when someone is good in a GT, then jumps into a Radical, but is absolutely slow and absolutely belongs in the AMs or something like that, then you sometimes see that iRacing isn't everything.
Sanchez nearly there. 2 secs down. Sanchez had to go in the bus stop. He's going to try now. There's contact with Blanco. Blanco gets a bit of a wiggle on. He tried to squeeze Sanchez. Sanchez was still had his nose in front. And unfortunately, they are going off once more as well. What about Murray here? Is he going to be able to get Siegel on the inside into La Source? He's dropped down. He's going to have that inside line. Can he get the exit out? Murray's also got an absolute barnstorming exit. Is he going to be able to follow him through? Side by side as they come down into the hill now. Siegel gets Edwards. Murray is tucked up right behind him. They're going to be running a freeway. The leaders are side by side once again. We've seen this once already. Is he going to be able to get through? Yeah, Sanchez, I don't think is going to be running that outside line. He's not. I want to pick up on the Siegel-Edwards battle as these guys are coming down here once again, down into Lacombe. Are they going to be able to make it through this time? Too wide, too deep. Currently at the moment, Siegel's got to go up the inside. He's going to be able to get past Edwards. Edwards come back at him. They're going once more on the exit of Mamadi. They're up and down into Ravage now. Side by side again. They're going to take it too wide again here. Could only end one way. Don't go into No Name in the same state. Drop him behind him. Good lad. And they survive another lap here. But that is one of the scary areas. You don't really want to be looking at going too wide any more than you really want to send it up the inside of Puon.
It's a tight section of the track, and you need respect for both drivers. If one driver wants to squeeze you out a bit more than usual, which might happen in the last lap scenario, then usually it ends in tears. Luckily for all of these drivers, it didn't. So Edwards, Siegel, Moraes, Hearn and Place can happily continue their way. One of them I'm sure will not be happy, and that is Stephen Place down in P13, down 9 positions on where he started.
Yeah, but if you're going to have a contact, unfortunately, that's what you've got to be looking at the moment. He's trying to go round the outside now, which is going to give him the inside of Blanchimont. He is going to make it through. What happened with Seagull and Edwards? Well, Seagull now is behind Edwards here, coming down into the bus stop once again. Murray's trying to go out the inside. Is he going to be able to make a gap? They're going to try and take it too wide. Murray's trying to come through as well. We've seen Place Murray once already on lap 1. Not an ideal scenario for them, guys. But again, they do survive once more. The leaders again are coming down the hill here, Dan. And again, I'm expecting them to be too wide on that run down into Lacombe.
Look at that speed that Franco Sanchez gets off of Ruiz Radion. Now there's going to be the problem. He pulls alongside and then he stalls out. You can see it. Once again, gets stuck side by side with Rafael Blanco. And this is the issue that you will see. Almost contact there going into Lecombe. Both the drivers keep it clean though. A carbon copy of what we saw 3 laps, 2 laps and a lap ago. That's the 4th time in a row they've gone side by side into Lecombe. This is also Matthias Moraes up the insides of Seagull. He's not going to make that stick. For once, the outside line actually works.
Yeah, Seagull come across him and said, no, you're not going to get through. Basically just taking his absolute nose off. And he had nowhere to go there, did Mr. Murray. And unfortunately, he's going to have to try again and sit behind him once more. Probably on that run out of Blanchimont, he might have a go. The problem is he's got the ever-looming Stephen Place from Team Radline Can-Am here. And again, Stephen's quick, right? We know he's quick. And there was a lot of times I've watched Stephen and he's not even qualified, but he still worked his way through the field. Last season's champion as well. Not going to be happy about the lap 1 incident either, to be honest. But then again, if you hit the curb, Murray's trying to go around the outside of Fanier here, while Seago's trying to run the inside line. They're going to be too deep, too wide at the moment. Is he going to be able to make it round? Seagull's hanging out that outside line. He's not going to give it up without a bit of a battle. He has to this time. But again, he's going to have a run on down Blanchimont. He pulls out to the right-hand side. Once more, they're heading down. Now under the bridge they go. They're going to go round the left. Stephen Place is trying to push Murray through. He's now side by side with Seagull here going on currently at the moment. How are they going to get on down into the bus stop? It's still Murray. Seagull's not giving up here. He is having a good old go. Is the AM driver currently sitting in third? Murray locked up, went in deep. He's lost two positions here. Is he going to lose a third one to Richard Hearn? He is not currently at the moment. I got a funny feeling Seagull's going to lose a position though on the way to place, dropping into La Source and on that run out down the hill. So survived another time.
If they don't watch out, they both lose the position. Goodness me, that got close to Stephen Place being in the wall once again.
Yeah, they're going to try and go too wide here. You can see it on board. Unfortunately, I don't know if this is entirely going to work. There's got to be, somebody's got to have a slowdown out of that. Somebody was well over there. I think Seagull was well over the line on that one at the top of the hill. Is he going to be able to, well, he's got to have a slowdown out of that. Surely, Dan, hasn't he?
I don't think he has, by the fact that he's gone up the inside of Stephen Place, actually. I do think. Yes, indeed, yeah. Well, doesn't matter anyways. He's going to go up the inside now then. No, I don't think there was a slowdown there, because if you do get a slowdown, it's quite a harsh one. A bit of a lockup going into Brussels, but they keep it clean. A bit of contact then going into Speaker's Corner. This has put me on the edge of my seat, and, well, it has basically been that way since 13 minutes ago, since the lights went out. There's been battles all across the field. But this has been one of the best ones here. About 4 or 5 drivers have been involved in it all the time. It's kind of like MotoGP almost.
Definitely. Herd's going to get involved as well now. I think from Stephen Place's point of view, he's down 9 places. He qualified in 4th. He's got to be a little bit more, I don't want to say precarious and cautious, because at the end of the day, he needs to be either one or the other. I think he's going to have to be brave, but he's going to have to be sensible. Clearly, Seagull's got pace, right? We can see that here as well. He's doing 2:13s. Place has gone up the inside of Blanchimont on the left-hander. Once again, is Seagull going to have a go? Can Seagull hold back Hearn? Hearn takes a massive wide line there, should we say. And he's going to try and go up the inside into the bus stop. This is only going to... Ooh. I tell you the thing with that is, apart from Siegel getting a massive slide on, of course, was about that he just come across and took his nose out and literally said, no way are you getting through. From Siegel's point of view, he's in obviously the right, should we say, he's in his right to do that, Dan, but he's going to have to be a little bit careful at some points.
Well, the thing is that the more you do that, it's kind of a downward spiral. If you do it once and you don't, take care of your tires afterwards, they'll get hot, they'll get warmer, and they'll keep warming up. And the more they warm up, the more you're going to slide, and the more you're going to slide, the warmer they get. However, someone who doesn't care about that is Hearn and Krasic. They both fly past Siegel.
Krasic's got a massive overspeed on both of them there. Made the most of what he was given, and then he is swept by both of them and put himself third in class. Currently at the moment is Charles Krasic, so an absolutely stellar job. The gap up front's been around about 9 tenths. It's come back down to 7 tenths currently at the moment. That would be due to the 2:13.28 that Sanchez set. However, he was on exactly the same time at 2:13.28 of Blanco in front of him. So no real massive gain, but he has obviously pulled back a little bit. But then again, he's losing a lot of time here once more again to Blanco. And Blanco seems to have that run out of curve pull for air and manages to stay in front of Sanchez, using that as probably his buffer there, Dan, I would have thought as well.
I mean, Rafael Blanco at the moment is kind of controlling this race with this pace. I don't think he is completely flat out. I think he's taking calculated risks, and he doesn't need to push as much as he did before. Sanchez is outside of a chance to go down in the inside or the outside of Lecombe, so doesn't need to push as much as he did before. However, going down into the bus stop chicane, one man needs to push, and that is Ty Kim. Yeah, Stephen Place behind him, and Stephen Place does not want to give him an inch, neither does he want to give him a mile, which is what he had before. I did say earlier on that there was with that 911, you usually see that on a Porsche, that number. Now, I do think that with the livery that he has on that SR10, that it is a Porsche-inspired livery at least.
You reckon?
Yeah, this is usually the stock livery that you get the 911 with, actually, the 911 RSR.
Well, maybe from Ty Kim's point of view, he thought he would like it. So he's gone again. He's now tucked up Murray once more. Is he going to be able to go through here? Not this time. Neither is Stephen Place. What about further back with Krasic, Hearn and also Siegel involved? Nope, they stay in currently as they are as well. Blanco's clearly had a bad time here. Sanchez has pulled in about 4.5 tenths over the first two sectors and has now got that gap down to 4 tenths once again here. So this is another battle with 13 minutes remaining, going to be hotting up once more. And Richard Hearn apparently has, unfortunately, looked like he may have had an incident here. Now, is this under his own doing in Lecombe, or is it? Yes, it clearly it is. Oh,
not completely, but also yes.
Not completely, but unfortunately it was his fault there as well, with that massive amount of speed at the back end. And unfortunately for him, he has not done himself any favours to drop below Siegel and Krasic once again here. And I think at the end of the day, he's going to have to try and get his way back through, but that's going to be a difficult one here with the amount of cars that are on track, I think, at the moment here down as well, because they're doing pretty well. We've got 19 cars in the race. Hopefully we'll be able to keep this round about this number for the season. I think there's about 25 registered here for the Americas Series as well. So obviously, as we know, generally numbers are always high at the beginning of the season. Just as the season goes on and people start sort of getting disillusioned with where they are in the championship, they start dropping out. But if we can keep this kind of number, that would be ideal. And Blanco once again with Sanchez going down the Kemmel, and once again, Dan, they're going to be side by side.
And once again, he's going to stall out right alongside him. They try to side draft as best as they can, but Blanco once again has that inside. Rafa or Franco Sanchez has the outside, and once again the outside doesn't work. Coming back to what you said earlier, I disagree with that. We had Bubba, the Belgian driver, in the Europe once, and there were 29 drivers. He started 27th of the 29, and he made his way all the way back up into P5 and gained 22 positions doing so. We have 19 drivers, so it is completely possible to overtake everyone that you have and do 3 more if you maybe have a bit of a spinneroo on your way. But yeah, overtaking very much possible on this track. However, it just seems like with you know, the topping out that they do once they pull out of that slipstream on the Camel Straight, it makes it 10 times more difficult.
Yeah, I think the one of the things you've obviously got to look at is in general about the strength of field as well. What, you know, the strength of field was, the quality of the driver, the speed, you know, his ability within the SR10 or SR8, wasn't it, last season, if I remember correctly as well. So completely different car. Again, obviously we know that the SR10 went through a massive update last month that made it completely horrible. They've come out and corrected that update. I believe there may have been some little whispering in the ear from Radical Motorsport saying, you know, what have you actually done to the car? Please put it back as it was. And they've come out and made it drivable again, which is always handy for one car series like the Radical Sim Racing, like the Radical Race Series, where they're relying on the SR10 as these guys are going over the line with 9 minutes to go. So from their point of view, they had to do something with the car, and that wasn't without a shadow of a doubt in question, I suppose, Dan, because it was a definitive thing that whatever they did to that SR10, they completely did not do a good job of it. And I've got a funny feeling as we watch Klausing and Watt go up the hill, we're going to see these two guys possibly swap positions here as well. But the car was unmovable, and Sanchez again is trying that line now. He's tried the outside line so many times. We're going to have Blanco in again, and again he gets a little bit further around the corner, Dan, but again it still doesn't work.
There was some improvement this time round. He got all the way through to Malmedy, but it stopped there. Even Place, he still had a tight Kim, side by side for a moment between Max Siegel and Charles Krasic. He doesn't get further than the entrance of Lecombe. Now, I agree with that. It's well, these creatures, these cars, however you want to call them, these living entities are so sensitive to little changes. And if one thing is off, the complete car can feel undrivable. And I think there was something in the update that wasn't quite as it was supposed to be. And that made the car completely undrivable. That's why we went back to that SR8. Which, to be fair, gave us a great season. I love the SR8, naturally aspirated, compared very high revving car compared to this low revving SR10, turbocharged as well. So, yeah, you want to be higher in the revs all the time in this car. However, it does still rev low. So it's something to adjust for the drivers as well. And that's something that when I first started driving the SR10 instead of the SR8, which was something that I had to get used to very much, because this car, you almost don't hear it when you're in it.
And I think that one of the things that caused some people an issue when the SR10 was originally released is the fact that you have to wait for the rev to drop before you can look at changing gear. Where the SR8 was a lot more engine gear dependent. You could use the engine to change down. You couldn't do that in the SR10. You had to wait for it to drop below a certain amount of revs before it would come down. We're looking at Blanco and Sanchez once more. Sanchez is going to come out and hit a wall of air this time. He's going to stay up right behind him, and there he is as well. He's tried it late this time, probably a little bit too late as he goes into Lecombe, and he's basically taking a step back from where he was into Malmedy. He basically wasn't anywhere near that point at the moment here as well. Klausing and Wyatt are still battling out in that order. Stephen Place and Murray still going at it. And Siegel and Krasic still going at it. So we've got our own little prize fighter here with the support fights on behind them as well. Siegel's just about to look at going up the inside. Krasick, well, not being rude, it was a little bit probably more respectful than he needed to be there. He probably could have hung that out. Oh!
P3 in the AM class, and then you throw it away like that. So unfortunate. He just got past as well going into Le Combe. It's all that work that he worked so hard for, tried to get past Charles Krasic. All comes undone there on the entry to Malmedy. So easily done. You get on the curb on the left-hand side on the entry to Malmedy. It just unsettles the car a bit, and you're done. Look, he's going to go into the left-hand side curb here. What I expect. Boom. There, that unsettles the car. Boom, and he's gone. It's just, like I said, these cars are so sensitive to just the tiniest amount of change. And, well, Max Siegel found that out the hard way.
Yeah, and that's the weirdest thing. He's probably done that every single lap for the last 10 laps. And then on lap 11, it decides that it doesn't like it anymore. You know, and it's one of the...
Really, you missed that curb on the outside.
Idiosyncrasies, should we say, of the way the car handles itself. But a lot of drivers are still back in the SR10. I believe there's been a resurgence in the official series of the SR10 as well. And I know last season it did drop off very, very heavily. Edwards here with Klausing, yeah, Wyatt as well. The car just became an absolute nightmare. So that dropped off. I believe there's now an uptake in drivers getting back in the SR10. I've still not got back in any car, let alone the SR10. Sanchez comes out again and hits that wall of air that he hasn't, you know, unfortunately been able to clear with the car in front of him, and Blanco still. He tries to hang out this time. How far is he going to get now? He's tried it every single lap practically, and he's going backwards. He's gaining bit by bit, Dan, but he's still not managing to make it through.
Yeah, that curb there on the outside of the entry to Malmedy. You either want to completely miss it, so just be up against it but not touch it, or you want to be completely on it. If you're half on it, like we saw Max Siegel do, well, you do unfortunately get thrown into a bit of a spin with the way that the car gets unsettled. Matthias Moraes at the inside of Edwards. He's not going to give him that. He's going to have to fight his way through. But we know one thing, and that is that the Brazilian of Matthias Moraes is an incredible fighter in that car. However, even he can't go around the outside of Speaker's Corner.
No, he definitely can't. And the interesting thing for Moraes as well is the fact he's been... Oh, is he going to be able to try and do it up into Fagné? He is currently at the moment. He's trying to run too wide. How are they going to settle in with into Paul Ferrer? Moraes is going to make it through, I believe. They're going to try and go too wide round here. It's not going to happen. Moraes out in front now of Edwards, with Place getting involved in the mix once again. And he's going to try and be in basically the third wheel at the party. He's just slipped up the inside of Edwards. He's got Murray now currently on the left. Is he going to be able to hold it? Where is Murray going to come through? They're still too wide. There was I think there was contact there. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it was a slight little bit of a hip check from Tyler Edwards, who didn't allow Stephen Place to come through.
Yeah, not sure if there was contact. I think that would have caused a bit more of an upsetting car. There was contact there for sure. This is for the lead. And they were side by side on the entrance to Rouge Radion. Watch out, Franco Sanchez. You might have a slowdown now, sir. Hopefully he hasn't. That would ruin this battle completely. He's swerving left to right. I think both of them have some kind of slowdown. Franco Sanchez has a little bit of a look up the inside. Finally, that inside was left open by Rafael Blanco, but he knew that this time he could leave that inside open. Franco Sanchez not close enough to do anything. The 26 of Joan Peugeot up the inside of White. Behind him now, that's the 20 getting the motor down a position.
Yeah, Zuccarelli manages to hold on. And not going to lie, Puyol was going for it, just did not quite get that speed that hasn't worked for anyone round the outside currently, as Max Siegel here as well is still out on track, running around quite nicely down in 15th. 5th overall currently at the moment. I believe he's had a drive-through, CJ. Thank you so much for telling me he's pitted, but he did not actually stop. So he must have had a drive-through already with about 1 minute 40 on the clock. We should have this one and one more, then we'll be on the final lap of the race. Zuccarelli and Puyol battling it out on the way through. Fagnier coming through into Parfitt. Is he going to be able to make it any difference on the run down into Blanchimont? Well, from Puyol's point of view, he doesn't seem to have a choice. He's got to try and go for it here, Dan. The problem is Zuccarelli looks like he got a lot better exit than what the driver in front.
Well, the issue here is that I think he's a little bit too far back to try and make that move. It depends on the run he's got to get out of Blanchimont. This is not enough. He's too far back. He's got to come with a monumental dive here if he wants to gain that position into the bus stop. And as I said, that's a little bit too far back. A bit of a mistake, though, from Zuccarelli. That might allow him to go for a move now into either the source or down the Camel Straight.
Yeah, he's got to try and look at the inside, or basically just nestle in and try and get the run out of La Source. Take as much curb on the right hand side as you need. The leaders are battling it out once more here as well. Sanchez has got a massive overspeed here. Is he going to be able to do it this time? Blanco's going to run him. Whoa, he hit the wall, yeah, as soon as he pulled out. I'm wondering if he's pulling out a little bit too early there, because not only is he hitting that wall of air, he's also basically just not going anywhere once he comes out. I'm wondering if he needs to kind of not hold back, but maybe, don't give it. Gee whiz. Talk about inviting a burglar here. Zuccarelli with the door wide open. And Puyol could not make the most of that one. But that was just a kind of an invite from Zuccarelli there as well. Yeah. I definitely would not have wanted to basically...
That's confidence.
Well...
That's confidence in the fact that you can brake later than he can. Well, you don't do that when you know that the guy behind you has the speed to overtake.
Yeah, but we are on the final lap now. We are done and dusted here, and they're going to be coming across the line. Is it going to be Blanco? Is it going to be Sanchez? Is Sanchez going to get close enough here on the run out and be able to attack coming into the bus stop? Well, time is only going to tell, and I've got a funny feeling he's not going to be close enough. As I say, he's going to take a dive deeper than Tom Daly at the Olympics to try and get through this time. And, he ain't, basically. I'm not going to lie. Blanco is going to take the victory here in the pros.
Don't jinx it.
He's not, dude. He's too far back. No way. If Sanchez even remotely thinks about having a try here, he's going to be one brave boy. And, no, he's too far. So, Rafael Blanco is going to make it.
It's more stupid than brave, I would say.
Yeah, I think if you enjoy your evening of racing and you want to go over and get the win, maybe try it. But from their point of view, not a good move whatsoever. So it is Blanco comes across the line, takes the victory. Sanchez in second, Benavides in third. Then Harmon, then Zuccarelli. Did Puyol hang on to the AMS? He did there as well. And what about Klausing? How did he get on? He's fine where he is. He comes across the line in second. Charles Krasik is going to come across the line in third place in the AMS. So well done to them guys. Nice little haul of points for them to get their season underway. And I think that's generally what you really want to kind of do in the first round here, Dan. Just get points on the board.
Yes, and that's also why I don't think most of the drivers took all of the risk that they could here. You just want to get your season off to a proper start. As we look back at a replay of Mike Klausing. What is up? Oh, he's going to cut that chicane, isn't he? There we go. Yes, yeah. He is.
I don't think he had much of a choice, to be honest. And into Lacombe when Klausing and just went in far too deep for his own good. And could not stop it. Jacqueline is waiting for Jacqueline to come across the line. And then we've got David Anderson, who is up one place. Still 8th in class overall. And he is on the run currently down Blanchimont. So there goes Joel Jacqueline. And David Anderson will be joining us very, very shortly. Hopefully in one piece, I suppose. That's probably most of what his aim is as well. He seems fairly new to the whole... kind of, I would say service, but I'm probably taking that based off his I rating more than anything else. No, apparently he's been a member for 2 years.
This is.
Presumptions. Presumptions are a wonderful thing. Right, let's have a look at the results here of this first opening round. Rafael Blanco is in first and takes the victory with Franco Sanchez in second. Rafael Benavides in third, Eric Harmon fourth, Duncan Zuccarelli in fifth, Juan Puyo in sixth, Philip Wyatt seventh, Mateus Moraes eighth, Tyler Edwards ninth, Ty Kim 10th, Mike Klausing 11th, Charles Krasick 12th, Richard Hearn 13th, Stephen Place 14th, Max Siegel 15th, Santiago Garbadini in 16th, Joel Jacklin 17th, and David Anderson is in 18th place. Then beyond that, Christian Vizcarra 14 laps down, didn't get going, I don't believe, on that one either. So, unfortunately for him...
Did not register one lap indeed, so...
No, I don't think he actually even started.
Nope.
No, which is a bit of a shame, but there we go. Nothing we can do about it this time around. But, there we go. Opening up, first round done. And what an interesting round it was indeed. If this is what's going to be lined up here once again... Well, it's going to be exciting. We have been joined by David Anderson in the booth. David, good evening. How are you?
Oh, good evening, gents. Good job on the broadcast.
Thank you very much. Welcome in. How was it for you out there this evening?
Well, thank you much. I jumped in. I had some technical issues, but it's my first SR10 race here and first time on this track. So I was just trying to watch and learn from the others out there. It looked like some good racing, and I just enjoyed being out here.
So is this your first drive in the SR10 in general?
It is. First drive in the SR10. I'm coming from MX5 Cup and some other Formula stuff. First time in SR10 this last couple of weeks, and unfortunately came in late to practice today, but still had a great time. It's a fantastic car, playful at the limit, and sort of forgiving when you're doing something stupid like a rookie like me. And it's a great car, and when you're doing it right, like the guys up front today, really did a nice job. I look forward to rewatching that race.
So what's the plan for you for the season then? Is it just trying to improve as the season goes on?
Yeah, that's all it is, right? It's seat time. It's time on each track. Like I said, this was a new track for me. And next week, for the next race, I hope to get a whole lot more practice in advance of that. But I've been out on the real world track, spent a little time out there, so I haven't had time to be in here. But that's going to change for the next one. Hope to get off the bottom of the barrel here.
Yeah, well, I think that's the aim. I think if you set a goal of like top 10 by midway through the season, I think that's where you probably need to be looking at the end of the day in a car that can be very, very tricky to drive. So well done, I suppose, first off for completing the race. So, at the end of the day, that's a big aim for anyone whenever they get into a car, a track they don't know. But, it's been a pleasure having a chat with you, David. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go this evening?
No, just shout out to you guys for great work on this, and to the organizers of the event, and all the folks at iRacing and Radical Sim Racing.
Awesome stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining us, David, and we'll look forward to seeing your progress as the season goes on.
Thanks, James.
Take care. Well, there you go. That was David Anderson there jumping in. Bit of a surprise, not going to lie. I didn't expect somebody to be in the booth next to me. I get so used to the lovely Netherlands Dutch tones of Dan. I was quite shocked when somebody else jumped in there. Dan, you know what I mean? It was a bit of a surprise.
In here, isn't it?
Yeah, it does get a little bit crowded with the door left wide open. Clearly, somebody didn't lock it on their way in. But we are seeing if anybody else wants to come in and have a chat with us this evening. I know, obviously, some of them won't want to come in, but I'm gonna go fishing now. Let me get some.
The Americans
people.
usually they're very interview shy. Don't want to give us too much information, to be honest. So we had some trouble also last season in the SR8s, usually finding someone to interview. Usually Biggles was the one who always with some kind of sentence managed to lure them into into the waiting room. But Biggles of course not here now.
No.
Biggles, where are you? We need you.
Well, I've gone. I love the people who replies to a message says I'm happy to. I'm like, well, come on then. Let's go.
We're waiting here.
Yeah, time and all that. 2 in the morning. Come on. Well, it's not 2 in the morning. It's 20 to 3. But there we go. No can do, says Mr. Place. You better give me a good enough reason. I'll tell you that much. But I'll tell you what, one man who has jumped in is Mr. Philip Wyatt. Philip, welcome in to the booth. How are you, sir? Thanks for having us, guys. Yeah, very good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Okay.
An interesting evening.
Yeah, very interesting. I'm more interested about the fact that your English accent does not come around as your nationality of American.
Yes, no, I've been here a while. I came over in 2001 and have lived well, New York, and now settled in Florida with the fam.
Oh, nice. Work?
Yes, I work for Audi, actually. I am a Audi of America employee, and unfortunately it's going to cause me to miss next week at the Nürburgring, so a little bit upset about that. But yes, no, I'm off to headquarters tomorrow, and I've been with Audi about 7 years.
Oh, nice. Well, if you need an assistant,
actually, claim to fame is the TCR car in iRacing was thanks to my race team. We provided all the data for that car, so if I'm not in the radical, I'm trying to get that thing to go fast.
Well, can you go back and ask them to get it updated, please?
I've been suggesting for a long time. We've got new R8s as well. We need all of it updated.
What's the new Audi TCR? Have they got a new Audi?
So, well, there's the customer racing side of things is interesting because the US has kind of backed off a little bit, which is why we don't see many. But TCR, obviously Michelin Pilot, and we have a new Evo of the TCR car that's out. The gearbox changes over the years. For the one that we have in iRacing, it then went fully sequential, and then Michelin Pilot rules changed and all the good stuff. So there have been many iterations of it.
Oh, well, can we get an update, please? That would be amazing. I don't know how much influence you've got there, Philip, whether or not you can actually instrument that or not. That would make me a very happy young man.
It would be a phone call back and forth. It would, and we'd be able to find it. I will work on it. I'm heading there this week, so yes, I shall work on getting us some updated TCR stats.
That would be absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for that. See if we can get it there as well. How was your racing this evening? Anyway, go back to what we actually originally should be here for, to be fair. How was your racing? Because at the end of the day, you did quite well, didn't you?
Well, I qualified horribly and spent a lot of the day sort of running laps and being in the sort of early 13s and thinking I might have a shot. And then qualified with a 15 and buried my head a little bit, but got a great run off the start. Took advantage of some squirrely driving and some thunderfooting. People were spinning all around me, and I made my way through. So I'm quite happy with it. 7th place for the first race of the season, and my first season in the Radical. I just think iRacing have done a fabulous job with the car.
Yeah, well, they have this season. They didn't last season, but they have this season.
They have, yeah, and it needed that. I was always a fan of the 8 and would love to drive that with teammates. We have a pretty good Radical following, and last season was just a nightmare. So I was super pleased to see when the update came out that it was drivable again. Of course, the first place you put it is Mount Panorama, and see if it'll go around that. So yeah, they've done a great job.
Yeah, they definitely have this time around as well. Second bite at the cherry, but we'll let them off. At the end of the day, what's the plan going for you going forward, though, Philip? Are we going to see? Well, you're not here next week, so what overall is the goal for this season? Where do you think you can likely get to?
So I tanked heavy last season and went down from about 3 and a bit K down to where I was at the beginning of the season, about 2.1. So I am thoroughly convinced that I can hold a place in the pro spot here in the A class. I would love top 5, but that's really a focus point. These guys at the front tonight were wicked quick, and they've been super fast all week. So these times that we're seeing on the track, the 12s and the early 13s, that's really quick round here. So if I can possibly keep up, that's the goal.
So is it, I suppose the plan would be to stay in the top 10 and then get yourself into the series finals?
Yes, would love to do that. Yep, and I've committed, the weeks that I'm not traveling on work, then I will be here and racing. And I like I really like the look of the track layout for this season. Yeah. There's going to be some really good racing out there.
What's your favourite track, can you think?
My local track where I instruct at is Sebring, so I can't wait to see this thing go around Sebring. It's going to be very, very good. And Mount Panorama to finish it all off, I think, is going to be exciting as well. Dependent on where the season ends, that could be Heartbreak City, but we'll see.
Yeah, I do love the fact that I've just got an Englishman in the booth and he says my local track is Sebring. I thought you might have come out of Alton Park there, Philip, not Sebring.
No, local track back in the UK was Castle Combe. I was at school in Bristol, so I drove that quite a lot.
No way. That's about an hour. Hour from me currently. I'm down on the 303.
There you go.
Neck of the woods. So yeah, in a lovely little town that's got its own little race course, mind you, called Wincanton.
I know Wincanton very well. Yeah,
that's where I am. That's where
it's a very small world. Yeah, I did many moons of single seat and karting and all the other bits and pieces through the West Country and the southern part of England. My hometown is Henley-on-Thames. So,
nice.
Haven't been back in a long time.
No. Well, anyway, Philip, I guess I could sit here talking to you for a while, but I better let you go. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you leave this evening?
Well, just the folks that are running this thing and set this up, they contact me, and I had no idea that it was going on. I love the fact that they're out there canvassing for drivers to come in and add to this, and to you guys. I'm going to watch it back and enjoy every second of it as I did driving it. So thank you, fellas. No
worries. Well, you take care, Philip, and we'll look forward to catching you up, in hopefully 2 weeks' time.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Take care. Bye. Well, there we go. Small world in the iRacing community. Philip there did actually shock me down. I'm not going to lie. A Britishman coming into the booth in an American series.
Well, something that I for sure didn't expect. Really?
No, and that's the bit when he says local track is Sebring.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit of a joke. Right, so there you go. Opening round there, Dan. What are we thinking for the season?
Everyone got off to a good start, except Joel Jacklin, I would say. Expected more from him, of course. He's got his reasons why he's down there. Also, Matthias Moraes expected a bit more from the number 13. But for the rest, I would say everyone got off to a pretty good start. What I'm expecting for the rest of the season is for battles to haul up a bit more, people taking a bit more risk, but here everyone just wanted to get their season off to a good start, so I think everyone just took it sensibly. Look, already looking forward to that next race at the Nordschleife.
Yeah, absolutely there as well. Well, thank you so much for everybody that has joined us this evening. CJ, as always. Did you just say the phrase "gee whiz," James, said Sobby Kebab? I probably did, knowing me. I don't really think much when I'm commentating. That's probably what gets me in a lot of trouble. And how I haven't ended up in a steward's booth of the league, I will never know, because sometimes I do get quite opinionated. But there we go. Thank you so much to everybody as well. Julio Alberto Sanchez. I would love to understand what that says, but I can't read that. I will, however, read Franco Champion Sanchez. There you go. I get that bit at the end. But thank you so much for joining us here up in the booth. And from myself and Mr. Daan Pepels, we will see you in a week's time. Don't forget, we've got the JPB Clio Cup coming up tomorrow night there as well, and the LSRL GT3 kicking off as well. So from myself and Mr. Daan Pepels up here in the booth, for now, take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.